I know that every time I do a video about celebrities catching backlash, there's always a new one. And listen, I know I sound like a broken record. I know I'm a broken record, but again, I go through the long list of names before I start the video. I mean, you're talking Kevin Hart, Cat Williams, Dave Chappelle, Chris Rock, Monique, D.L. Hughley, Steve Harvey. You know, then you got Candace Cameron and Danny Masterson and Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis, Drew Barrymore, Melissa Barrera. And those are just the names I can think of off the top of my head as far as the ones I've covered on this show. There might be some other ones I covered on here that is not, I'm kind of blanking on right now, but you get the point. So now it's Alyssa Milano. And I found this to be interesting. This one right here is according to the Mary Sue, and then I'll get into what People Magazine said. I think this is People Magazine. Yes, I'm sorry, that's Parade. Okay, I just saw the P. I was thinking People. So Parade Magazine and OK Magazine. So let me start off with this one right here, according to the Mary Sue. Why is there so much outrage over Alyssa Milano's GoFundMe? Shortly after scrutiny of Alyssa Milano started to die down over her alleged feud with Charmed co-star Shannon Doherty, another controversy struck. And by the way, I'll talk about the feud with Shannon Doherty in another video. That show, actually, I started watching not too long ago, and I think it's good. But again, I'll save that for another video. The simple act of starting a GoFundMe has led to a torrent of outrage against Alyssa Milano. The concept of celebrities starting GoFundMe pages and utilizing other fundraiser platforms has long been a subject of debate. For example, Dwayne Johnson and Oprah Winfrey were slammed when they started a fund for survivors of the Hawaii wildfires last year. Johnson and Winfrey each donated $5 million to the fund to kickstart it, but it didn't satisfy a lot of people, as some felt that the pair should have donated even more to the fund and that it was out of touch for two celebrities to ask regular individuals for donations. Okay, so I think that, and again, I'm not here to make an argument against any of them in terms of like any of the celebrities. I'm not here to this is not like going against Dwayne Johnson or Oprah or Alyssa or any of them. I think I can kind of understand that criticism to a degree. And this might sound arrogant and ignorant and selfish. And again, this is not necessarily my perspective, but I think this is how individual, average, non-famous, non-rich people feel. That they're looking at this and saying, you guys are celebrities. You guys are A and B stars. It's like, you got all these millions and upon hundreds of millions of dollars. You're starting a GoFundMe. And it's like, come on. And you're asking a bunch of everyday Americans who many of them make under $50,000 a year, under $40,000 a year. Oprah Winfrey has a net worth of about $2.8 billion. I couldn't find Dwayne Johnson's exact net worth. I just typed it in not too long ago. The first number I saw was 800 million. And I thought, what the heck? I said, I don't know if that's right. I don't know if that's right. Then I saw some other sources that said 124 million. One said 270 million. So I said, okay, it seems like the 270 million sounds closest to accurate in that. If anybody finds any better numbers or you have different, I mean, just put it in the comment section. It's not that important, but again, I just do this show for fun. It's a fun discussion. But I said that sounds about right. The 270 million, whatever. And it's like, okay. I don't know exactly what the goal was for that fundraiser because I didn't look that deep into it, but I remember when that came out and they received a bunch of flack for it. This one right here says, similarly, in 2021, Kylie Jenner was criticized after sharing a GoFundMe for a makeup artist's medical expenses and encouraging others to donate after she contributed $5,000 to the fund. Again, listen, I respect all these people greatly. I like Alyssa Milano. I like Oprah. I like Dwayne Johnson. Kylie Jenner's pretty all right. I don't follow the Kardashians and the Jenners as closely, but they seem all right. Last I checked, Kylie Jenner's net worth was about $750 million because I think she was the second richest Kardashian / Jenner of the group. Because Kim is like now, between 1.4 and 1.7 billion, and now she's at 750 million, Kylie. And it's like, again, I don't know what the number goal is. So let's say it was, I mean, heck, let's just say it was $1-2 million. I mean, if you just did all that your own, I mean, what are you really losing much? I mean, come on, you and your family have all these different TV shows and the clothing lines and the perfume and the clothes and whatever, everything else they sell and all the business they do outside of the 9 or 10 TV shows that you all have all together. It's like, I get how some people could feel a way about that. Again, I don't care personally, but, you know, it's a complicated discussion because on the one hand, it's true that celebrities could probably donate more than they tend to, and it doesn't seem quite right for millionaires and billionaires to encourage an average income earner to donate. On the other hand, some may overestimate how much a celebrity truly has to give or underestimate how beneficial it can be for a celebrity to draw attention to a fundraiser. So what happens when a celebrity parent tries to fundraise for their kid's sports team like other parents? Here's this. Why did Alyssa Milano start a GoFundMe? On January 25th of 2024, Milano took to Twitter to share a link to a GoFundMe campaign she organized under her married name. Alyssa Bugliari? To tell you the truth, I don't know. That's another thing I didn't look into as well. I don't know the married name. I just know her as Milano. In the brief caption, she explained that her son's baseball team was fundraising for a Cooperstown trip and encouraged others to donate to help the team. So she says right here on Twitter, my son's baseball game is raising money for their Cooperstown trip. Any amount would be so greatly appreciated. You could read more about the team and make a donation here. And apparently it got over 1.6 thousand likes, so just 1,600. Some people are probably thinking, yeah, for a celebrity that you would think that. But again, just saying, that GoFundMe provided further details about the baseball team's passion for the sport and explained donations would go towards travel costs, uniforms, and dues for families. It had a goal of 10,000, which is exceeded by over 5,000 as of this writing. However, it didn't take long for the outcry to arise as users suggested that Milano pay the travel costs herself. Given her ventures in acting and filmmaking and her husband's status as a major Hollywood agent, many assumed the couple should have more than enough money to cover the costs without fundraising. Milano ended up turning off the comments on her post, and it appears many of the original posts have been deleted. However, as reported by NBC News, Milano received dozens of comments calling her out of touch for failing to pay the expenses herself, and despite her and her husband, David, allegedly being multimillionaires. The backlash was so intense that she released a statement on January 26th claiming that she had received media inquiries about her contribution to the baseball team. She explained that she helped pay for uniforms, throw birthday parties, and sponsor kids who couldn't afford their dues. However, fundraising is just part of the team's activities, as even the team members do their own fundraising. Okay, so she said the same thing right here in Twitter, according to this post. Let's see if it's still up, or did she delete this one too? Okay, so she said, I'm getting media inquiries about whether I have financially contributed to my son's baseball team. I've paid for uniforms for the entire team and coaches, thrown birthday parties, and sponsor any kid who can't afford monthly dues. The kids also do fundraising themselves, car washes, movie nights, and many other fun things. Thank you to all who have contributed to the GoFundMe. You've made things easier for these boys and their families. Okay. Let's see. This person right here says, oh, this has got to be interesting. Wait a minute. Somebody here says, hey, thank you for helping abandoned dogs out. I hope your mother, who has a net worth of $10 million donated to the shelter. Also, knowing she has this money, she should not be asking middle-income people from society to donate to a baseball team. It's beyond ridiculous and selfish of her. Talk to your mom. And this is what her son said in response. You do realize I'm only 12 and I love my mom. My mom is the greatest human being of all time. Is the greatest human of all time. She does everything for everyone. So Milano had shared that. And she says every parent raises money for their child's sports teams, as many of them do, see through I'm sorry, as many of them do so through GoFundMe. I'm no different. As much as I'd love to pay for the entire team and their families for travel, transportation, hotel, food and beverage, uniforms, trading pins, and all the things teams do for this kind of trip, I cannot afford to do so. Maybe someday. Also, if I did pay for everyone, my trolls would find something else to be hurtful about. Okay, she kind of has a point on the troll part, but I'm going to get back to the other thing in a second. Regardless of how you feel about me, going on to my hard-working 12-year-old son's Instagram page and leaving these kinds of messages is so horrid. Leave the kids alone. Let them play baseball. If you are against donating, don't donate. If you'd like to donate to help the team's families, we appreciate it. The link is in his bio. And so here's what I say. I'm like, look, I say the same thing in terms of like, nobody's forcing you to donate. The goal was $10,000 in this one, and she's already raised over $15,000, so it's well past. So a lot of people are looking at this and saying, hey, we don't need to donate anything to you because you're a celebrity with a net worth of $10 million. You played these TV shows. You were on shows like, Who's the Boss and Charmed. And I think what was the other one that they mentioned? Was it Melrose Place or something like that? I think that was it. And she's, a liberal activist out here, a Democrat. And so, but she's raised over $15,000 on the goal of $10,000. So clearly somebody donated to her. So let's keep that in mind, to be fair. And I think that is, and I'm trying to debate right now if I think that this should be a topic for, should I put this in another video in terms of celebrities starting GoFundMe pages and how people feel about that, what parts of it make sense, what parts don't make sense. And I think some of it was laid out here, but I just found that to be interesting. Is the backlash against Milano warranted? It's worth noting that a lot of backlash Milano received came from prominent conservative accounts on Twitter. Since Milano is politically active and has made her alignment with the Democratic Party very clear, it's difficult to tell how much genuine criticism Milano has received and how much are conservatives just being eager to trash her for anything. Additionally, USA Today spoke to a psychotherapist and media studies professor, who both suggested that part of the outrage may simply be from growing stress over the state of the economy. Now, let's go over to OK News, which I'm assuming pretty much says the same thing. Alyssa Milano is under fire once again. In late January, the actress sparked criticism when she shared a GoFundMe fundraiser for her son's baseball team, a move that didn't sit well with some since she's a Hollywood star. Before I go on with the rest, again, I'm kind of repeating myself here, but this is where I kind of have mixed thoughts because, as they said, on the one hand, it's like if I just up and said, we don't need to donate anything to you because you're a celebrity, you can pay for it all yourself. You take care of it all. That would just kind of make me sound like a selfish a-hole. Like, just be like, okay. But then the other part of me is thinking, like, a lot of the conservative accounts are trashing her for this and saying, well, she needs help because she's rich. But then also a lot of the same people who are conservative, they support political policies like tax cuts for the rich and things like that. I know this is not like the same thing, but again, these are the reasons why I have mixed thoughts on this. Now, am I donating to it? Probably not. Besides, she's already surpassed the goal, so what am I going to do? But I do agree with the point that because of her net worth, and by the way, another source said her net worth was only $4 million compared to the most sources that said they were 10. But even if I were to take that and just say 4 million, well, we may not, again, the goal was 10,000. So you take, and by the way, she raised 15,000. So let's go with that. You $4 million and you take, and by the way, my brain is just not working right now, so I'm going to have to cheat a little bit. I know I shouldn't have to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. So you're talking about $4 million minus 15,000, and then you have 3,985,000. I should have been able to do that right off top. Don't ask me why I wasn't able to do it. It's just I'm not functioning properly right now. So again, yeah, for the most part, I agree that she could have paid for it, by herself. But again, I'm not anti-Alyssa or anything like that. I'm actually still very much a fan of hers, mostly for the liberal and democratic activism thing and as far as promoting democratic candidates. But also she played some good roles. Out of the TV shows she's been in, I've really only seen Charmed. I didn't see like some of the other stuff. But And then Parade Magazine right here, same thing. She faces backlash for attending Super Bowl with son after asking for donations. Now, when this first popped up, I didn't get it at first because I'm probably like 1 out of 5 or less people in the entire country, maybe the entire world, that really wasn't paying much attention to the Super Bowl. Again, there was like me and probably 4 other people that were doing other things. Like, hey, we were either playing video games or watching movies or shows or whatever, or just doing this YouTube show right here, whatever. And then I looked up the ticket costs for the Super Bowl. The average cost of the Super Bowl on the low end actually was just over $8,000, over $8,300 to be exact. And then you had all these other prizes, people going to the Super Bowl, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000. I'm like, what the heck? And so I'm thinking, that part makes me think like, well, if you were able to afford to go to the Super Bowl, and I don't know exactly what she paid for her ticket and like for her son, but if you're able to do that, I mean, to be fair, I'm not going to be the one to say you should have. I'm not going to say Alyssa shouldn't have started a GoFundMe, but I understand the criticism of it. I get it. Now, for those that are just attacking her just for the sake of attacking her, that they don't really care about this, they just see, they're conservative and she's a liberal, so we're just going to attack her for that. They probably wouldn't have attacked her if she was conservative, and let's say she was promoting Republican and conservative figures. They probably wouldn't have done this. So it's like, okay, those people who with that criticism, that doesn't really matter. But, and let's see how they word it here. The Charmed alum took to Twitter back in January, requesting her 3.4 million followers consider donating to GoFundMe, benefiting the team's trip to Cooperstown, blah, 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 15,000 out of 10,000 goal. We've already read that part, blah, blah. Her husband's an A-list Hollywood agent. Okay, so one person right here says, must be nice to afford to go to these events. This is what the GoFundMe was for. And see, that's a tough one. Now, anybody can look at that and say, okay, well, she just used that money just so she can afford to go to the Super Bowl. Again, she could have already afforded to go. And I think that's too easy just to say that, to be like, we don't know for sure. She probably used her own money to get her and her son the ticket to go to the Super Bowl. And it's very much possible that this GoFundMe was used for what she said it was going towards, which was the baseball team so they can go to Cooperstown. Another called her presence shameful, while someone else imagined her asking for cash up and down the aisle for her son's baseball cleats. Another person says, wow, donations must have been pretty good. Another comment read, leading some to jump to her defense. Someone here says, I knew someone would comment this BS. She has the right to pay for what she wants to pay for with her money. She doesn't owe paying for everyone else's stuff. Somebody said, people need to relax. She's having an experience with her kid. Knock it off, geez. Agreed. Plus, as another person pointed out, Milano was there as part of a fundraiser benefiting the American Cancer Society, which offered everyone who donated a minimum of $10 an entry to win tickets, transportation, and a meet and greet with the actress herself, meaning she likely didn't even pay for her tickets. I mean, it's like, well, I think that she is somebody that I would like to meet. And I'm sure, obviously, she has a lot of fans, too, who would also like to meet her, and I'm sure some probably did. I mean, if I go on her Instagram, Twitter, you might find some pictures or whatever. Maybe she was nice enough to let some people get a selfie or shake hands, whatever. But like I said, I think there's a part of this that's blown out. My overall conclusion on this is that I think part of the criticism of this is somewhat legitimate, while another part of it is like kind of blown out of proportion. So I just say, Alyssa did a good job with meeting her goal and surpassing the goal. And hey, good luck to your son's baseball team and all that. And hope you continue doing good work in Democratic politics. So we actually have another video that talks about her. And like and subscribe if you want. And stay tuned. And I guarantee you there's going to be a lot more stories with a lot more celebrities catching backlash for various things, many other things, because it never stops.